Yo, welcome back to Ivory Soapbox. I'm Ivory, and I'm on my soapbox. Tonight's podcast is titled Real Estate 101, Episode 5. Thank you guys for being here. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. So let's dive in. We're going to talk due diligence period. I know a lot of people, if you ever have bought a home or looking to buy a home, it's one of those things that you hear a lot, and it's a very important term, due diligence period. But due diligence period is pretty much the time for you to investigate the home as you're purchasing it. It happens after you go under contract on a home. 9 times out of 10, there is a due diligence period whenever you're purchasing a home. Every blue moon, you'll find something where there's no due diligence period, but everything is negotiable. So a due diligence money is when you pay for that due diligence period. So let's say, for example, the house is $300,000. You put down $1,500 for due diligence money, and you ask for 3 weeks due diligence period. So during that due diligence period, you're going to have a home inspection. It's optional, but I 100% recommend a home inspection. Then if you get a loan, you're going to have an appraisal done. The bank they're going to hire an appraiser. They're going to tell you the bank the value they think the house is. The bank won't loan a penny more over that appraised value. So I'll say, again, the house is $300,000. If it appraises at $295,000, then the buyer is either going to have to bring $5,000 difference to make up to that $300,000 mark, or the seller will bring the price down and you negotiate with them to try to say, hey, I don't have that extra $5,000. Will you negotiate? The seller has zero obligation to negotiate to bring that price from $300,000 down to $295,000. However, most instances, the seller wants the deal to happen. They want it to go through because they've lost time off the market as well. Even though they're compensated by that due diligence money, at the same time, they want to get the deal done. But you don't know the circumstance that the seller is in. So they might say, hey, that's $5,000 to us. And if you can't make up that difference, then we're going to put the house back on the market, and they have that right to do so. So that due diligence period is a major component of a real estate transaction. So the inspection happens there, the appraisal. It's time for you to negotiate the home. If you want to go have the home measured inside for furniture and things, you ask your realtor to set up a showing. You do that. So that's the time to show your family. If you have a sister, cousin, baby mama that's in town from out of state, they want to see the new house that you're buying because they're excited for you. The due diligence period is time to do that. You can also do it afterwards, but that's really the time that you want to get everything done. Let's say you want to get a home inspection done, and the home inspector finds multiple items wrong with the property. Because the home inspector's job to tear the house apart to find those things, regardless if it's up to code or not, all that good stuff, they're going to pick the house apart, which you want. That's the time also to negotiate with the seller to say, hey, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I want you guys to fix it. Or you can give me a credit in lieu of those repairs. In the state of North Carolina, this is my disclaimer because I work in North Carolina, and this is very state to state. North Carolina is a buyer beware state. So every home is sold as is technically. If you see something that says home is being sold as is, honestly, it goes without saying if you're a realtor, because we know that, but at the same time, not every person knows that. So the seller has zero obligation to say, hey, all right, you asked for it, we're going to do it. No, it's not the way it works, unfortunately. The seller has no obligation to correct anything or give you a credit. If you're under contract and the contract is the seller agrees to everything that you're under contract for, however, you want to ask for either a credit or ask for repairs, they don't have to do that. So know that going in, because that could be a deal breaker if you go in thinking that the seller is obligated to correct these issues. However, if there's, let's say, a leak in the roof, you want the seller to fix that, and they say, no, we're not going to do that, and you back out, that's fine. They could put the house back on the market without correcting that, but they have to disclose that as well. So that's called a material fact. So they will have to disclose that. And usually the agent that was under contract on the property with the buyer that backed out, they usually stay on top of those things and make sure that the seller they disclose that information to the market, because that's the whole reason the deal blew up in the first place. So due diligence period is a huge part of the real estate transaction, and due diligence money buys you that time off the market. If you back out, the seller is compensated. If you close on the property, that due diligence money is a credit for you. But there's a risk involved in putting due diligence money down because it is non-refundable. So make sure you do your due diligence and investigate the home as much as you can before you actually get under contract. Because once you're in that contract, you put that due diligence money down, it is a risk if you have to walk away from the deal. If you do not get approved with the loan, you end up buying a new car 5 days before closing. Congrats on the new car, but you're not getting the home most times. So do not buy the new car until after closing. Until after closing. I have to say that. And so also during the due diligence period, you could get a survey done. It just shows you the lot lines, the property that you own, because there's been so many times, it happens every single day, not to me, but it has happened before, and it happens every day to everyone in the world, that there's an encroachment. For example, I had one where my client's driveway of the home that they were purchasing was actually owned by their neighbor. Yeah. So that's a great thing to get done during the due diligence period. It's also optional, but it can benefit you, or it can just, you spend a certain amount of money to have it confirmed that you own what you own and the neighbors don't own what you think you own. So that's another thing you want to get done during that due diligence period. And it's hard sometimes to get surveys done during the due diligence period, but it is definitely possible. Let's see here. Let's talk about some fees when you're purchasing a home. So you have some attorney's fees. And another good rule of thumb that I like to use for clients when I'm doing like a seller net sheet for them, see what they're going to take home, is like $1,000 to $1,500 for attorney's fees that are a part of closing costs. HOA, if there's an HOA, the home you're trying to purchase is in HOA neighborhood, you might have to pay an initiation fee, and you also pay like prorated HOA cost. Let's say you buy the home in July, so you're going to pay July and beyond, and the seller of the home that you purchased is going to pay January to July or January to June, however that works out. And so you only pay for the time that you're owning the property. So that's prorated. And also you'll pay prorated county and or city taxes as well. Same scenario from the HOA prorated thing, that you're only going to pay for the time that you own the property. The seller is going to pay for the rest of the year. So that too is a part of closing costs. So make sure you know up front going in what these fees are going to be, because that's going to be something that you need to set money aside for potentially, or you could ask the seller to pay your closing costs. And I'm seeing that a lot in this particular market, where there's homes that are sitting on the market maybe a couple weeks, and the buyers are able to ask the sellers to pay their closing costs. We'll use the $300,000 number again, and you may ask for $8,000 in closing costs from the seller to be able to cover those things, from the taxes, HOA stuff, the attorney's fees, potentially the appraisal, title insurance, things like that. So you want to be prepared, and this kind of what I'm talking about is trying to help you be prepared going in, kind of know what you're looking at whenever you're making these decisions to purchase a home. Because unfortunately, purchasing a home is not free, and sometimes it's not cheap. And so looking at homes is one of those things that you want to get pre-approved first, so you know your buying power, what you can afford. And even if you get a pre-approval for $500,000, that monthly mortgage, you might not be comfortable paying for a $500,000 house. You might want to stay under $400,000 because that's where your comfort zone is. And that's perfectly fine. But having that pre-approval up front is absolutely the number one thing you want to do besides speaking to a realtor whenever you're starting the process of purchasing a home. If you hit up the realtor first, like myself, I could recommend someone to you like New South Lending. They're great to work with, done multiple transactions with them so far, under contract on one that they're doing right now. And they'll be able to get you pre-approved for pretty much any type of loan. And then if you hit up the loan officer first, the lender, then they might recommend either a realtor or you go ahead and get the pre-approval, then hit up somebody that you want to work with, like me. And then we'll start looking for homes because we know what you can afford. So you get the pre-approval first because you want to know what you can afford, because you don't want to be looking at $600,000 homes and you only get approved for $400,000, because that's a waste of time for everyone involved, you know? And also, if you want to put an offer on a home, you can't put an offer on a home unless you're pre-approved. So going ahead and doing that is a key component, key ingredient to this recipe of home ownership. So make sure you do that. If you don't know what you're doing, that's why I'm here. Listen to this podcast, talk with your partner. If you're single, like, talk to me and we'll figure out what you need to do. We'll get you in the right hands with the right lender, and that's specific to your needs, because everything's case by case. So that's a great thing, because the lender's the money person. I'm the home person. I'm gonna be able to navigate, help you through the process, hold your hand and make it happen. And it's a huge, huge, huge investment. So you want to have someone like me with experience to be able to help you navigate that process, because it is very tedious and it's pretty much the biggest transaction that a lot of people go through, like investment wise. $300,000, that's a lot of money. And so you want to be able to go through the process with someone who knows what they're doing, but also you feel confident in it and moving forward with everything. So make sure you do your due diligence in purchasing a home. And of course, I'm always here to be able to answer questions for you. If you have, people hit me up all the time on Messenger, email, text message, phone call, things like that. Just call me if you have any questions about anything. If you're working with another agent and you call me or text me questions, please don't do that. Don't do that. Yeah, don't do that. I won't go into detail. Don't do that. But anyways, also, you do not have to put 20% down to purchase a home. I think it was more so years ago where everyone thought that might have been true or something, but you do not have to put down 20% to purchase a home. I'm not going to quote it a whole lot because I'm not a lender, but at the same time, when you talk to a lender, they'll be able to tell you the minimum that you can put down. And you want to be able to put down, to me, I tell clients all the time, try to put down whatever you feel comfortable with to get your mortgage payment each month where it wants to be, where you want it to be for yourself. Because if you put down like a FHA loan, you put down 3.5% and you're comfortable with that mortgage payment, then do that. Keep more money in your pocket for other things, set it aside for a rainy day. But like a conventional loan is 3%. And so just things like that. It's very important to be able to know going into purchasing a home. And that's the really small things that a lot of people may not know going into this thing of purchasing a home. And so I think it's vital to be able to do your own research. I'm a YouTube researcher. I watch YouTube videos on almost anything, and it's probably on there 99.8% of the time. And I'll research the crap out of something too before I buy it. And definitely when it comes to buying a home, even though I don't have to do that anymore because I'm the expert, so I'm watching my own videos. But that's pretty much the gist of purchasing a home, Real Estate 101. And I'm here to answer any questions you guys have. Just hit me up. Want to talk in person, that's fine. We can do that as well. And get you in a home. I also list homes, sell homes a lot. So hit me up if you have somebody who's looking to sell a house. So anyways, that's that. I appreciate you guys listening in. Short episode, but one of those that I think will be impactful for those who are looking to purchase in the future. I appreciate you guys for listening. And remember, real estate is 24/8. Shout out Kobe. I got to get to work. Shit.